So joining me now to talk more about the next steps for both the Trump and Harris campaigns are Republican strategist and founder of Espina and Company, Brittany Martinez, and Democratic strategist and co-founder of RC Communications, Calvin Dark. Thank you both for being here today. So Calvin, let's start with you. The Democratic convention just wrapped up a few days ago, and it had a lot of energy. Vice President Harris will be in the critical swing state of Georgia later this week for a bus tour with her running mate, Governor Tim Walz. Now, polling tracker 538 shows Trump and Harris are nearly tied in Georgia, with Trump less than 1% ahead. So what's really the focus for the Harris campaign as they come to Georgia later this week?
Hi, Aaron. Good to be here. I think that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have one goal, and that is to continue this momentum that they saw, this excitement, this enthusiasm from the Democratic convention, and make that turn into votes. And I think folks need to realize that while the election is November 5th, I know in my great state of North Carolina, we start getting our mail-in ballots in the middle of September. So it's not that long. And so if they can keep up that momentum, and the fact that Georgia is actually in play shows that it's possible, they just have to keep it up.
All right, Brittany, let's get to you. Turning to the Republican side now. Early voting starts next month in Pennsylvania, which is another crucial state. Former President Trump will be there for the third time this month for a rally on Friday. So what's his strategy there? Are Republicans confident that they can win that battleground this time around?
Well, you know, when we're talking about strategy, I think it's pretty clear that they've made a pivot in stopping with the insults and trying to stick more to the actual policy issues. Republicans have been saying for a long time, but we've really been decrying over these last few weeks that we need to start talking about policy because these are really winning issues for us. Economy is going to be number one for voters at the top of their mind. Immigration is there too. And this is not the best issue for Democrats right now. And so, but here's the problem though, is that when the former president does start sticking to the talking points and talking about policy, he doesn't do it with the same enthusiasm that he does the insults. So I would say, you know, it's really important for him to go out there and talk about this messaging and why Republicans are the best option for voters.
Good insight, Brittany. So Republicans, they have repeatedly criticized Vice President Harris for not holding a major news conference or sitting down for an interview since replacing President Biden on the ticket. And that was a little over a month ago. So Calvin, is this something that her team really should reconsider? And could we see that soon?
Well, I think what we need to remember is that Kamala Harris has two goals. One is keep that momentum and encouragement among the Democratic voters that are excited now. And two, to be presidential and make the case that she can be the president to these undecided voters. Now, she's been successfully doing that, according to the polls, without a press conference or an interview. So I think when she thinks about a press conference or an interview, she needs to think about how does it help me address those two goals? And if it does, then I think she'll do it. But I also don't think that there's anyone who's going to say, I was going to vote for her, but I didn't see her on 60 Minutes or another channel, so I don't know. I think it can help her, but her focus must be on winning this election.
Thanks for your insight on that one. So, Brittany, back to you. Former President Trump picked up an endorsement Friday from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as he ended his independent campaign. Do you think that will give him a boost at all? And what kind of voters should the Trump campaign be focusing on right now?
You know, Aaron, this is such an important question, and it's something that he should have been doing very early on. I don't think at this point that the RFK endorsement is going to do too much because he's been slowly dipping in the polls. He was at maybe 20% in some polls earlier this year, but we saw him in, 4 or 5% more recently. What I think that Trump and the campaign should have done is focus those efforts on the Nikki Haley voters from earlier this year. We saw consistently, even after she suspended her campaign, that she was still getting nearly 20% in some of those still earlier states. And so I think that they really need to start focusing on those voters. The Harris-Walz campaign has been doing that. And when it came to Trump, really all he did was shoot out a couple of tweets that also insulted Haley while saying, but you know what, come join me anyway. And, he said that those voters were barred permanently. So I think there needs to be more of an effort there.
So I want to ask both of you. We're counting down to the first presidential debate between Harris and Trump. It's set for September 10th, November 5th, Election Day. But for both of you, how would you be preparing your prospective candidate for the stage? And what are you expecting them to focus on when they get to that stage? Brittany, let's start with you.
Sure. And so that first debate that we did see with Trump and Biden, Trump didn't do all that great just in comparison to Biden. He did better. And so I think what he needs to do is be calm. I know that people like the feisty Trump, but when he's calm, that's when he's able to deliver that message to resonate with voters. And for a lot of those independents or in between or disenfranchised Republicans, what they don't like about him is his personality. So I think it's really important for him to sort of tamper that down and really pay attention to what people are talking about. It's the economy, inflation, immigration, some of the things that we've already talked about today. I think that's going to be the most helpful thing for him to do.
And Calvin, your thoughts?
Well, I think that Vice President Harris needs to pretend that that debate stage is a courtroom. She needs to go in there like the Attorney General she has been and make her case quickly and concisely and let former President Trump talk as much as possible, because nobody makes the argument better that she is the best alternative in this election than Donald Trump when he speaks.
I appreciate both of you for weighing in today and for your time. Strategist and co-founder of RC Communications, Calvin Dark, and strategist and founder of Espina & Company, Brittany Martinez. Thank you both for joining us this Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.